This series is about one of the most extremely haunted locations I've ever been to, a place that has left physical scars on my body. To understand this fully, I need to start from the very beginning. Several years ago, I was an excited, young, naive paranormal investigator with nothing but a cheap camera, a sense of adventure, and a bag packed full of batteries. Like many, I was eager to find a place with a lot of activity. I've been across the country investigating some old western towns before, which I had some experiences, but nothing that really convinced me that any of this was real. Validation, that's what we're all seeking, right? That undeniable experience, or that piece of evidence, that thrill, that's what I was after back then. My co-investigators at the time had found such a place. It's a small house in southwest New York that simply goes by the name the Hinsdale house. I'd seen some footage and knew a few things related to this house, and I was excited to go. Not long after booking it, my members all backed out and the trip was canceled. My team was gone overnight. I was devastated. Not long after that, I put out an ad looking for paranormal investigators. One day I was at a gas station on my way home from work, and I was going through my emails on my phone, and I had a response to my ad. This guy just moved into my town, had the experience and enthusiasm, and I decided to meet up with him. When we agreed to work together, I reached out to the email address on the Hinsdale House's website and booked us for the fall, which was a few short months away. What I didn't know at the time was I was going to get what I asked for, and much more. I had no idea what I was getting myself into at the time. This location would turn out to be unlike any place I've ever been, even to this day. There's a far more to it than just a place that's active, and it's not exactly what I would call welcoming energy. I call Hinsdale the onion of the paranormal. It just has way too many layers to experience and document. Even years later, as I record this, I'm certain I've barely scratched the surface. I've quickly become addicted to the place, not in a I need to visit here because it consumes me kind of way, more of a there's something strange here, something challenging, and I seek answers kind of way. It was then that I decided to collect information and investigate this place on a deeper level, and thus the Hinsdale Archives was born. The first time I was there was a few years ago. Myself and my co-investigator at the time were discussing amongst ourselves, and a big bright sudden flash of light appeared on the staircase. I had nothing that would emit white light. The entire vibe of the house had shifted after that.
During the walkthrough, we were told if we ignore the house, it will stir up activity. We decide to talk amongst ourselves and see what happens. We had no idea what we were in store for.
So, what the hell was that? Did you just see that?
I did see that.
What the hell was that?
I thought it was that thing on the stove.
Oh my god, I just got really freaking cold, man. Something's...
Yeah, no, my whole body, goosebumps, everything.
What was that? Getting to go to Hinsdale proved to be a challenge in and of itself. My first co-investigator left the group about a month before we were supposed to visit Hinsdale for the first time. It was a struggle to find someone else to go with me, just in time before going. I'd met Greg and Dana earlier in 2016, and in early 2017 they launched their museum membership, which I promptly joined. They have a museum of a vast variety of haunted objects, each with a unique story. One in particular, called the Well of Intentions, was used in collaboration with me for an experiment with Hinsdale. One of the perks about being a museum member is that you get to be a part of the live stream investigations. The first time I was in Hinsdale, I caught a gargle noise that sounded like it wasn't even human. One of the live streams was at a location famous for tales of Mothman, and that very same noise happened there too during the live stream. So that got me thinking, what if Hinsdale is more than just ghosts? What if there are layers to this place? In my paranormal journey, I'd ended up at an event back at the house in the winter of 2017, where I met psychic medium Chelsea Gill. We became friends and kept in touch over the years, and later on as I investigated the house further, she played a vital role in providing me insight for the series. Then there's the house's owner, Dan. It was about a year after being at the house for the first time that I got to meet Dan in person. He's put a lot of work into the house and done a lot of historical research to make it what it is today. When I met him, I discussed the idea of booking the house for a week to try an experiment. We made an agreement to make it happen. As time went on, I met two others that would ultimately be a huge help in this project. Maria was there to capture the most recent events with me at the house, and to help put together this series. And last but not least, there's my co-investigator Amanda. Amanda has abilities like that of a medium, and she helps put into perspective the things going on around us during an investigation. Everyone who took part in this played a key role to some degree. The Dandy family seemed to always have experiences in this house. Beth had heard voices from outside her window frequently, a man and a woman talking, and they were aware of her being there. Beth had been moving something and injured her back at one point, and Clara had given her a muscle relaxant. Beth claimed to have taken the whole bottle and had fallen to the floor. When she was rushed to the hospital, she was out of control in the car, and once there, kept going from stiff to limp, making it difficult to carry her into the emergency center. They pumped her stomach and found no evidence of mass amounts of medicine in her system. The doctor noted that when she was admitted, her eyes were blue, and when she was checked out, she was her normal self and her eyes were brown again. The doctor even questioned if it was the same girl. The family suffered a lot of car issues and car accidents as well. Family pets seemed to pass away rather frequently. The dog would go out in the backyard and dig up bones that resembled human bones. The Dandy family seemed to experience a little bit of everything with this house. When it came time for the week-long investigation in April 2018, people that had intended to go with me suddenly backed out. I did not want to go about this alone, knowing how much that house impacts me. I asked everyone I could think of that was reasonably close to the location. Everyone either had plans they were committed to, or they came down with cold and flu-like symptoms. The house knew I was coming. It knew what I was intending to do, and it did not want me to figure it out. It isolated me and tried to stop me. As much as I resisted it, and as dangerous as it was, I had to do this regardless of the circumstances. I had come too far to turn back now. Knowing what I know now, it was a bad idea, but I followed through with my plans. I went alone.
Okay, so it is, you can't really see that, but it's 7:52 p.m. It is April 22nd, it's a Sunday. Right here I've got base camp set up in the back of the Suburban so that I can basically run and gun. We're gonna try some experiments tonight. At one point I want to do static only in the house for maybe 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and have nobody in the house. I just want to see what happens in its natural state. So I don't know when I'm doing that. Tonight I'm by myself. Tomorrow I'm probably by myself. And then midweek we're gonna do something pretty interesting with this house that you'll have to just wait and see. To anything currently in this house, my name is Ryan. I do believe you remember me. I've been here a few times. To anything that is here, I am not here to invade your space. And I'm going to respect your space, and I ask that you in turn respect my space as well. Okay, that was a shadow, but it was my own shadow. I'm here with respect. And I'm here just to communicate with you and ask a few questions. I will not harm you. Dude, it is freezing right here. And I ask that you do not harm me as well. I'm going to be staying with you for a little while. With the sunset and the static camera stage, I decided to make the kitchen my base point and ask a few questions to see what happens. That's me pulling out a chair, me sitting in said chair. I don't need any ambient light. Oh, it's suddenly getting really cold in here. What can you tell me about Indrid Cold? Do you know anything about Indrid Cold? Do you know who he is? Do you know who Greg and Dana Newkirk are? I hear something in there moving. It's like a dragging sound. But there's nothing, because everything in that room I can see from here. There's nothing moving. As soon as I say that, there's more taps in that room. I just want to make a note of how I feel. It's deathly quiet in here. Like my ears are ringing. I hear the crickets outside. It's not really an uneasy feeling in here. Usually I get a very heavy feeling in here to where it's hard to breathe, especially up the stairs. I didn't necessarily feel that. I'm kind of relaxed, which is unusual. It's a little bit scary that I'm relaxed in here. I just heard something. It kind of sounded like a psst, but I don't know if that was just the fly. Because there is a fly buzzing around in here, and it's against stuff at the walls. Okay, what I think I'm going to do, since this house feels pretty silent, I'm going to let it get used to the cameras. I traveled like 6 hours here, I haven't eaten. I'm going to go grab something to eat. And then I'm going to come back. So I'm going to go grab some food. And then I'll be back. And then I'll be back probably. Yeah, I'll be back around midnight. I decided to go into Olean and grab some food and let the house sit, as most of the evidence that's captured here is when nobody is in the house. As I go to leave, there's a pop in my audio from some kind of abrupt pressure change or frequency interference. New recording, Hinsdale House, April 22nd, 2111. I'm about to leave the place. When my truck is running and I'm about to leave, I will rev it twice. And I'm just going to leave this recorder sitting on the table just so that it can record noises in here, and I'll see what it gets. Yeah, so I'm just going to leave that there. And so that's running. I'm still here, obviously. Take this with me. And shutting the door. As of 9:16 p.m., I was no longer on the property. I was at least 15 to 20 minutes away from the house for the next several hours grabbing some dinner. While I was out, the static camera caught some rather interesting things downstairs in the living room area, 42 minutes after I left. This sounds like someone walking around the living room and then attempting the shave and a haircut knock that a lot of investigators use in an attempt to communicate. Is this something residual? Is this a slip in time where I caught the past or even future investigators attempting to communicate? Or is it something else? Something actually mocking recent human behavior in the house? What's even more compelling is that this is the only audio in the entire house that captured this, almost as if the events in that room were entirely separate from the house at the time that it occurred. Alright, so we're on our way back up to Hinsdale. It's currently just a couple minutes after midnight. I've left the house sit for a few hours. The game plan for the night, since I'm exhausted, is to just let the place quiet down for the night. Excuse me. I'm so drained. I just want to let the place quiet out and even out for the night. And I'm gonna take things and take them back and charge them. I have a local hotel room that I can charge things up at, so, and stay at without being subject to whatever's in that house. At this point, I'm not so sure what exactly is in that place. But according to residents of the past, it's more active in the day than it is at night anyway. We're coming up to it. The frogs are still at it.
In 500 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
Now I did block the road with cones here, but I'm just gonna go around them.
You have arrived.
I might as well open up the gate. And get things ready to take back. I'd like to make note that the house is locked. See, padlocked, top and bottom. Yeah, I was fairly certain that light would be dead, which means the upstairs light's also dead. These I'll disconnect, but I'll leave them here. Letting the house sit alone always proves to leave some kind of activity on camera. I decided to let that become the baseline for the week and to pack it up, get some much needed rest, and start fresh the next day. So it's currently April 23rd, 2018. I'm in Hinsdale, New York at the infamous Hinsdale house. I'm spending the week here. I came in last night, Sunday, April 22nd, and basically for the most part I just let the house sit. I let things naturally record and just see what would happen. Today, there's currently a lot of flies around this place. I mean, a lot. Like outside, it's swarming with flies. In here, there are flies. You can probably hear it in the audio. They're buzzing against the window right now. Right now, it smells like rotting flesh. Something smells rotten in here. Who knows what we're in for? This house is very draining. I'm not sure exactly why it's always draining, but more than one person has said it's draining. It drained me quite a bit last night. I wasn't even here for an hour, and I was already feeling it. This place, it finds a way to seep in. It finds a way to get to you. It finds a way to make an impact. That somehow went into shoot mode. I'll just let it run silent for a moment. Is there anybody in this house with me right now? I'm not here to harm you. I'm here simply to communicate with you. I'm just sitting in silence, and as you can see, nothing. No radio, nothing like that's coming through. Do you know anything about Indrid Cold? Do you know Greg and Dana Newkirk? Nothing. Just silence. Well, not silence, but static. Can I ask why there are so many flies here today? Well, right now I'm just going to boot up some audio from last night and see if anything looks out of sorts. I have to break the file down to a smaller one, but this is about an hour and a half after I left. Did you hear that? That was upstairs. Oh my god, there's just so much shit. This house should have been dead silent, no pun intended, all night, and it wasn't. Oh my god. This wave just went right through me, man. I just saw you. Okay, so I'm sitting here, right? And this is my perspective. And I see this black thing right here. Oh, it's cold here too. It just starts swirling up and then just goes up and vanishes. It just goes up the stair and vanishes. That's what I saw. I just saw you. You don't have to be afraid of me. Are you Nexus? I kind of want to go upstairs, but I feel very uneasy doing so. Do you not like visitors? See, what did I say? And if I just like minded my own business, that this place would come alive and start doing its own thing. That's exactly what started. Oh god, it's such a weird vibe in here right now. Let's put you back in your corner. I'm gonna put one of those right here. One of the periscopes. So I've got one that's up right there at the tip of my finger on the stairs, and I've got one right here. So those devices pick up static electricity energy by me walking around them. It shouldn't impact them at all. See? No human interference. Could you please walk down the staircase, please? Whoever was trying to manifest here... That was my phone. Whoever was trying to manifest here... Can you please go back up the stairs? The flies are acting up. Do you want me here? Can you set off one of those two devices if you want me here? If you know Dan, Dan's the one that let me in. If you know that name, Dan, can you please come to one of these two sensors here? They won't harm you. All they'll do is let me know that you acknowledge my question. Last night, when I left here, I left a recorder on the staircase, and it had 16 hours of memory on it, and the battery lasted just over 10 hours. I quickly reviewed some of it in preparation for tonight. I just put it through some software that showed me on a visual basis what would happen. There are things that thing captured that it shouldn't even be possible. This house was empty and it was locked. And I'm the only one locally that had the key. This house comes alive. And I'm starting to wonder if I made a mistake coming here. The fact that this place smells like rotten flesh tonight, and that there are flies literally everywhere, it's concerning. I gotta get out of here. I'm just minding my own business, just seeing if anything would happen. And the longer I'm sitting here, the more I'm getting sleepy. I'm getting so tired. I was fine till I came here. I was totally fine. I'm gonna leave the house for a little bit. I'll just be outside. I might just take a walk. I'll be here for at least 12 more hours. I'm already sleepy. Please stop draining me. And things die, like my phone is almost halfway dead. And my batteries, the one battery for the GoPro kept crapping out. The one battery for the camera there kept crapping out, so... Just sitting in that house, staging cameras, and then filming some of the monologue shots, I was already drained, and finding it very hard to breathe. It was becoming overwhelming. I had to take a break already. It's very, very draining in there, so I'm just going to take a moment, catch my breath out here. I have a fear that that door is going to lock, so I keep the keys out. Let's just sit for a minute. I've only been in this house for a little over an hour, and I feel exhausted. I need to go for a walk. Let's go for a walk up that wood line. That trail that's right there. Let's go for a walk at some point. It's currently 13:11, so I've been in the house for about an hour and 10 minutes. Had some communication already. It's been weird. And it didn't start really draining me until I addressed it as Nexus. Okay, so I'm gonna take a walk up to the woods. Just see what we can get. Oh god, it's sopping wet. And this is very steep. I don't know what's drawing me back here. There's all kinds of weird noises happening out here. feel like I'm gonna be sick. I don't know why. But I do. I don't feel good about this. It's so dark. Like, just past these trees. What is this? This tree. It just has stuff hanging all over it. This whole tree, it's covered in dream catchers and feathers. Look at this. I don't think I should be back here. I really don't think I don't think I should be here. But look at this. Look how dead all of these trees are. All of them. And look at just past here. They're all green, and it's so dark back there. And it's broad daylight. And this trail continues. I was sleepy when I first came to this house. Now I'm just on edge. I'm going back down. I shouldn't be here. Something just doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm being watched. There's just something not right, man. I might head into town. I gotta get away from this place.
The trees have been studied and tested, and the trees that thrive in the woods should not, and the trees that are dead should be thriving. This house was draining, and I felt on edge. I felt like something was watching me in the woods. I decided that, with having so much longer to go for that night's experiment, I would take a break, so I locked up the house and left the property. I drove to Olean back to my hotel and took a break, and while I was away from the house, I thought now would be a good time to discuss the experiment plans with Greg.
Hey, dude.
What's up, man? Tonight I'm doing an experiment with Greg and Dana Newkirk of the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and the Occult. They have an object that was essentially programmed with positive intentions at this location. We're doing a remote experiment. We're going to see how that goes. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but I'm really excited to find out what we can get.
How's it going?
It's going.
You're still alive.
For now.
How was your first night?
It was really weird. It was like, it was quiet, but it's at the same time, it was very draining.
Really?
Yeah, like, I was sitting there, and a lot of the times, at least in the past, some of the best evidence I've ever gotten there was when I wasn't in the house. So I decided, I have the keys to the place, and so I decided, why not go? I was like, it's been a long trip, let's just go get some food. So I locked the whole place up tight and left everything just sit empty. And I had an audio recorder that I skimmed through it on a visual basis at least, and there's stuff rummaging around, and there's something there just under the white noise that's mumbling, like the entire time.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, that place, man. It's the feeling of being drained.
Yes.
I mean, we were there just for a day, and I couldn't take it. I mean, there were people who, they were fine in the morning. They were falling asleep.
Yeah.
Like in the house.
Yeah.
So what are you thinking for tonight? What do you want to do?
Oh, I don't know yet. I think, do you guys just want to do, like, stay entirely separate from me, do your own thing, and see what you get versus what I get, and then I can compare it later? Or do you want to do,
cool.
like, yeah, I think that's an interesting idea, just to see if we get any similarities, not being in contact.
Yeah. I'll pull the mirror down, and I'll set up a little something with that. I mean, the mirror's been kind of weird lately, honestly.
Yeah.
There's been way more tapping on it than usual. In fact, I don't know, I think I might have told this to you, but every time we start doing initiative stuff, it starts to tap.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
So we've kind of ignored it as much as possible and haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to it. But if I pull it down and do some stuff with it, and then I don't know, I got a few ideas. I got a few things that I can say to it, and we'll see. Because if we coordinate it and do it at the same time, and you're watching all of your timestamps, I'll record everything over on this end. It'll be interesting to see if stuff coincides that way.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Everything I've got is time-stamped, so, and I'll have that marked as to when you start your stuff, so you could just shoot me a message when you're starting it up so I know that you're starting on your side. Cool.
I'll send it to you on Facebook that way. That way I know it's not being intercepted.
So you think start it around 10?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. That works perfect, actually. I should have all my stuff knocked out for the day, and I'll shoot you a couple messages, and we can coordinate like an exact time, and I'll set some cameras up, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome, man. Well, if anything comes up, don't hesitate to give me a ring. Let me know. If you get any ideas or anything else you want to try, just hit me up. I'll be around all day.
All right, sounds good. I'm actually heading back to the house in about 30 minutes, so I'll be there throughout the afternoon.
All right. Well, if I don't talk to you before then, I'll hit you up a little after like 9:30, and we'll get it rolling.
Sounds good.
Cool, dude. Talk to you soon.
All right, see ya.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Call ended.
So I'm sitting in my truck here, and I'm about to go back to the house, but something caught my eye when I got in the truck, and I wanted to just get this on record here. My clock is stuck at midnight, and it's not doing anything. I mean, I've been here for a couple minutes, and it's not even counting. So midnight is when I went back to the house and finished the standalone experiment where I let the house just sit. I don't know what's going on, man, but all kinds of weird stuff's happening. Ready for night number 2. I went back to the house and finished charging batteries and moving data off the memory cards from the night before. Just to keep my sanity being alone there, I attempted to go live on Facebook, but the connection kept dropping. Due to the batteries being charged and the memory cards being moved to a hard drive from the night before, I didn't film much of the day investigation. The lack of evidence was disappointing anyway, as the house was silent while I was in it. The only thing notable was the smell of rotten flesh. Might as well turn those on. Okay. So, I'm about to leave the house. I've got static cameras on the second floor in there. This one right behind me. My laptop's downloading still. Evie is all primed to go, ready to go when I get back. I'm just going to let it sit for a moment. I'm going to head back into town, get some food, and I want to prove that it's currently, you can't read that, let me get my phone. It's currently 7:36 p.m., April 23rd, and master locks. Set those down there. Let me get the keys, they're in the truck. Locked. And I would also like to point out, windows are barred. And the back door is also locked. So I'm gonna let everything roll. I'm gonna grab some food and I'll be back, and then we'll try the experiment. I've got a really bad feeling about tonight. I feel like it's about to get really raw. As evening fell, I let the house sit yet again empty until it was nearing time to perform the experiment with Greg. While I was away, more sounds in the downstairs area that sounded like someone was rummaging through the house were captured. It's 9 o'clock, and I'm back in Hinsdale. So, just want to prove that the house itself is still locked. Locked up tight. So let's unlock it and see what happens. That scared me. I dropped one of the locks. Some of the locks are upside down. Me coming in. Time to do one last battery check on the lights and stage everything. It's time to see just what this house is capable of. Let me turn infrared on that one. Kill light. So I'm going to do a live EVP session real quick. Let's get rid of all those. That's not what I wanted. My name is Ryan. You should know me. I've been here a few times. I want you to know I'm not here to disturb you, or harm you, or disrespect you. And I ask you to do the same to me. Nothing. So it's 9:33. Greg and Dana are going to do an experiment with the Well of Intentions. On their end, they're probably going to do the Estes method. On my end, I'm going to try something. I'm going to Evie is streaming audio right now. So I'm just texting Greg right now. What I'm going to do is sit in the truck with headphones on that can pick up Evie's audio. Alright. So right now, the point of this, I'm talking loud. The point of this is so that I can hear Evie live. Okay, it's just a table. So everything that hears, I hear wirelessly. All right. Let's do this. Let's see if I can get it. Greg just texted me and said he's about ready to go. The house tends to be more active when it's empty, so I leave the house in preparation. This is an attempt to capture more evidence, but I will still be able to listen to the house live through Evie from the truck outside.
Okay, Ryan. We've got 5 minutes until 10. I'm just getting in the mood. We've got an analog clock over here that'll let us know if any funny business goes on. I'll use the DR, use the EMF meter, just keeping it simple. But at 10 o'clock, I'm going to light that candle and I'm going to address the house and we'll see what happens. This has been very strange lately. Every time we try and do some initiative stuff, it taps. Like somebody's on the other side. We'll see. We'll see what happens.